7,000 feet up in the Zagros Mountains, an American colonel wedged himself into a rock crevice. Night was falling, temperatures were dropping, and he was alone in hostile territory. On April 3, 2026, during the intense early weeks of Operation Epic Fury, an Iranian surface-to-air missile struck his F-15E Strike Eagle, forcing both crew members to eject deep behind enemy lines. Combat search and rescue doctrine relies on the golden hour, the critical 60-minute window to pull someone out before the enemy can coordinate a response. While U.S. forces managed a rapid daylight extraction for the pilot, the weapons systems officer, the colonel, missed that window. He was trapped. The Iranian military quickly mobilized. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps and besieged paramilitaries launched massive search parties, offering a bounty of $66,000 to local Bakhtiai nomadic tribesmen to scour the mountainside for the downed aviator. Capturing a high-ranking American officer would hand Tehran a powerful bargaining chip. A hostage crisis of this scale threatened to paralyze coalition operations and send global energy markets, already reeling from the closure of the Strait of Hormuz, into total chaos. On the ground, the colonel relied on standard survival protocols to evade initial patrols. He distanced himself from the wreckage and climbed toward the high-altitude ridgelines, where the thin air and jagged terrain made it difficult for search teams to operate. Hiding creates a paradox. To be rescued, you must provide your coordinates. In modern warfare, transmitting a standard radio distress call is a death sentence. Iranian signals intelligence would instantly triangulate the frequency and send troops straight to the source. This vector diagram illustrates the military solution, the ANPRQ-7 C-cell device. Instead of broadcasting a continuous radio wave across the local terrain, the handheld radio fires a highly directional, microsecond burst of data straight up to a military satellite. By using a low probability of intercept data burst secured with 256-bit encryption, the transmission slips through the dense net of Iranian radio monitoring waves without triggering an alert. To keep his voice off the airwaves, the colonel used the radio's preset text interface. He triggered a custom message reading, "God is good." While the phrase initially caused concern at command, individuals close to the colonel confirmed his religious habits, verifying his identity without a single spoken word. This electronic silence kept the Iranian military searching blindly, while giving coalition planners the exact coordinates they needed to launch a recovery mission. Knowing his location was only step one. Actually reaching him meant flying low-altitude rescue helicopters through Iran's integrated air defense system, a lethal network of modern surface-to-air missiles. To counter those missiles, the U.S. Air Force deployed its newest electronic attack platform for the first time in combat, the EA-37B Compass Call 2. This map visualizes the concept of spectrum dominance. The EA-37B bombards enemy command and control nodes with targeted interference. Watch how the overlapping radar threat zones dissolve as the jamming signal radiates across the region, blinding the missile batteries. Neutralizing those sensors created a temporary safe corridor. With the surface-to-air threats deafened and blinded, the rescue task force could thread a flight path directly through the deactivated radar zones and into the mountains. This electronic corridor was reinforced with kinetic firepower. Dozens of aircraft provided top cover, including F-35s and continuous overwatch from MQ-9 Reaper drones, ready to strike any hostile units closing in on the rescue perimeter. You cannot safely fly troops into heavily contested airspace through physical firepower alone. Dominating the electromagnetic spectrum is a prerequisite for conducting a modern, high-threat extraction. Blinded radars cannot prevent ground troops from physically stumbling upon a hidden airman. The Central Intelligence Agency recognized that Iran's military command structure was fractured and slow to verify information. To protect the colonel, they launched a psychological operation aimed at the enemy's internal communication networks. The CIA flooded Iranian military channels with carefully crafted disinformation. They planted false intelligence reports indicating that U.S. forces had already located the airman and were moving him in a convoy toward the border. Thinking they were in pursuit of a moving convoy, Iranian security forces pulled their search parties out of the Zagros Mountains and rushed to secure highway checkpoints. This ruse emptied the rescue zone of enemy troops, leaving the colonel undetected until the rescue team arrived. On the night of April 5th, the physical extraction began. SEAL Team 6 executed a joint forcible entry into Iranian airspace, seizing an abandoned agricultural airstrip south of Isfahan to land heavy transport planes like the MC-130J Hercules. The isolation of the airstrip was temporary. Iranian forces eventually zeroed in on the U.S. position, and an intense firefight erupted in the dark. Coalition aircraft dropped 900-kilogram bombs to halt the approaching enemy convoys. Runway conditions deteriorated rapidly. 2 transport planes sank into the thick mud and became completely immobilized. With time running out, U.S. forces blew up the stuck transports and several Little Bird helicopters, incinerating them to ensure no advanced technology remained. The military left behind over $300 million in destroyed hardware at that airstrip. In the tactical calculus of combat search and rescue, sacrificing equipment is an acceptable price to pay to recover a service member and deny the enemy an intelligence victory. Despite the chaos and the material cost, the operation succeeded. The assault force extracted the colonel and cleared Iranian airspace without a single American life lost. Recovering the colonel removed the immediate threat of a hostage crisis. This allowed the administration to maintain its aggressive military stance toward Iran, including its Tuesday deadline to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, without the leverage of a captured officer hanging over the decision. Rescuing a single life in a contested environment necessitates total dominance across the physical terrain, the electromagnetic spectrum, and the enemy's psychological reality. The April 2026 operation proved that in modern warfare, no man left behind is sustained by every layer of the coalition's technological machine.